Red Bull took a week off for some rest and recovery in Singapore, only to come back faster than they were in the first part of the season. Yay, us. It's lights out and away we go for episode 120 of the Eaton Asphalt podcast. Oh boy. I think we were meant for kind of a lopsided race here. We had a couple good weeks of fun. And so, yeah, it was just only a matter of time. But we're here. What'd you think?
Congrats.
Yay. Yeah, I loved the super late night. It's a nice change of pace from just waking up dead early. This time I'm like falling asleep, partially wanting to go to bed.
Yep.
In the morning, just partially falling asleep because I want to go back to bed. That's a big difference between the two.
There is. We were really lucky with hours with Formula One. Salt in the wound really was seeing Max, I don't know, a second quicker a lap, pull away like just so easily. He was coasting for the last like 15 laps of that race. So yeah, that sucked. But now Red Bull won the championship. They don't have anything to really play for. So
drivers championship next week. And then after that, then they're good.
Yeah.
Max is going to win in Qatar, and then 5 races of just fun.
Yeah. 5 races where like you said, they have to start in the pit lane and run outside, get in their car, start it, and then go.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that something needs to be done. After they've won that, what's the risk of doing anything else? So obviously going to talk about this week and this week of racing. We have our news, finally back to some news because we're done for the 2-for-1 for now. We have our good, bad, and ugly, our gambling paddock, our race recap, and race predictions recap. So half of the sectors that we typically have been doing the last couple of weeks, you're welcome. Or sorry, if you really like them.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Probably not. All right, let's get into our news.
Look out, Barbie, because there's a new women's rights movement in town. Jessica Hawkins, first female F1 driver in 5 years, tested for Aston Martin. Boy, did she look fast. I bet she looked fast. I don't watch practice a lot.
I did see, I did see a lot of the articles about this. And then I was like, I was too lazy to even click the articles to say, how did she look? But hey, I'm sure incredible.
She probably she was zooming. I heard she was zooming.
Yeah, I bet she was so fast. That's incredible. Good for Jessica. Can't wait to see her in a seat soon, right?
New Ferrari
Audi's coming up, right?
Nice. Yeah, Audi.
Yeah, I could see that, her and Sainz together. All right. Shout out Jessica. Another fun thing during the weekend, last weekend, Lewis is being interviewed in their kind of chill zone, the Mercedes chill zone. There was a QR code that was shown kind of next to Lewis. Thousands of people saw the QR code. I would have done the same if I was watching this live and be like, oh, what does this go to? And it was just basically their food and drink ordering system, and ordered thousands of drinks for George and Lewis, thousands of Red Bull drinks actually for George and Lewis. Very classic prank. I think even when they were coming out with like responding, being like, we still haven't changed the QR code. People are still ordering Red Bulls for us. Please stop.
My question here is, do you think they had to pay? You think they had to pay for the Red Bull?
I don't think so. I feel like people would be like, first of all, if anyone has to pay, it's the film crew. They're like, yeah, that's probably that's on us for being like, oh, why is this QR code? Probably not all good Samaritans watch Formula One.
I just think if you have to scan a QR code and you want to do a quick little prank and you would just say your order to someone that's right there, right? So the QR code is there so you can buy something, I bet. And, it's not a bad idea to just get a little extra cash. If you're Mercedes, probably Alfa Romeo could use this. They haven't spent any money in several months now. So let's not be surprised if Alfa Romeo is like, oh, guys, don't look over here because this is our QR code.
Yeah, it's like a GoFundMe.
Yeah.
Oh no, you found it. Shoot.
You found our GoFundMe.
So while you're here, any dollar matters.
Please. All right. speaking of Red Bull, let's talk about AlphaTauri. Yuki and Danny are officially in for the AlphaTauri seats for 2024. Liam Lawson, a reserve driver at Red Bull and AlphaTauri. Unless, do you want to say it?
Williams.
Williams, baby. Williams,
I
Logan Sargent, and Liam Lawson. Is that what you're saying, dude?
That's exactly. Albon, you're out, buddy.
You should have done better in that car.
Yeah, you guys stink. I did see a lot of stuff because I was texting you on I guess Saturday morning. Yeah. After Sargent went out, Q1 obviously crashed. I was like, dude, this is 100% Liam Lawson is replacing Logan Sargent. And then I started doing some digging to see what people said. It seems like James and the crew are backing Sargent, and I'm not sure I understand why. If you're all right, you play you're Logan's agent. Sell me that seat.
Okay. Do you like America? You like money? You like American money?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Hey, we got a deal.
Done. I don't give a shit about his racing. I mean, technically, he is losing the team quite a lot of money. We're gonna play semantics here.
Yeah.
All right.
Constructors, number one in the Destructors Derby, right?
Exactly, dude. I think they just want something to win, and by a good margin. I believe that they are number one in the Destructors. He is especially, so good for him. Gotta win in something.
You do.
All right. Our last bit of news is Oscar Piastri locked in till 2026. The rookie dream team, rookie of the year guy, obviously hand him the oar now. Smart move by McLaren to just say this guy is very good. Let's hold him down as long as we can.
And this was signed like 3 or 4 days before the Japanese Grand Prix, right? That's when they inked the contract. I think that's what I saw. So, I mean, what a way to respond. Like,
yeah.
You know how like football players will sign a big contract and then they like coast a little while after? Dude, not Oscar Piastri. Dude gets his first podium a couple days after they sign that contract. You got to be thinking Oscar Piastri's agent is probably pretty pissed off, actually. He's just like, God, if we had like a podium to negotiate, probably would have gotten, what's a podium worth? Like an extra 700 grand a year?
Yeah, I could see a good Button. Isn't his manager Jensen Button?
His manager is Mark Webber.
No, Mark Webber. That's it. Yeah. Hey, so, I mean, dude, risk it, Richard. Fucking God. He's garbage.
Yeah, that guy. And then I'm not gonna say that. You can say
I'll say it. I'll finish the news out. Piastri locked into 2026. Loris locked into Red Bull halfway at the door. Apparently, that's what I'm starting to see. Reports are rumbling. He's gone.
Source?
This guy.
Okay.
Source right here. I don't know, dude. I trust myself quite a lot. And it just seems like that's also logical. What was logical to me about getting Lawson in, Sargent out, logical, Norris out into Red Bull.
All right. I mean,
I don't know.
Is it a Marco guarantee? Are we getting a Marco guarantee?
No. I'll have an update in a couple weeks.
Okay, sounds good.
I'm halfway into handshaking now. I'm like right there. You see me approaching me, and I was like, let me shake your hand. And you're like, whoa. And I'm going to say it again. I'm going to feel really confident. That does it for our news. On to our good, bad, and ugly for the race weekend in Suzuka. All right, Ian, I believe I went second last time, and I'll go first this time. Right, so my good is going to be breaking records, but this is not the record you'd expect. Lando Norris came out from Suzuka as a fun new record holder. He passed Nico Hülkenberg as the driver with most career points without a win. So Norris now has 543 points without a win compared to Hulk's 530. Fun fact, what do you think Nico's best finish has been in Formula One?
Well, I know he's never gotten a podium, so I would say P5, P4?
P4. Nice. P4. Yes. Very good. Very nice. Good job. I mean, you were wrong, but you were close. Bad. Teams' cars being too similar. I think we need to do something because even not just the simple fans, but the drivers are getting confused with the near identical team cars. I know they try to change it with a little bit of yellow here. We needed a little bit more. Poor Charles was tricked into thinking that he was right behind Max and en route to a podium. Unfortunately, more typical Red Bull debauchery, and it was actually slow Perez. Personally, a little surprised that Charles thought that he would had just magically caught up to Max, who has been like you said, a second faster than everyone on the weekend. And he just popped up being like, oh, did I catch up to Max? Am I going to be on this podium? So a little foolish there, but the fact stands, we need to do something about this whole identical car thing.
Yeah, that is a problem. Needs to be.
Yeah, it confused poor Charles, dude. That's not fair.
No,
Yeah,
you do the race. Charles got confused. Restart.
Yeah, sorry. Blame Perez. All right, that's my bad. And my ugly is going to be being tricked. So kind of similar to my bad. And another piece of debauchery from Red Bull pulled was setting us, the lovely fans, to believe that other teams had a chance against them. They got us to think that they had car issues last week and that there may be a shakeup for the rest of the season. Maybe Ferrari, maybe McLaren are looking to compete a little bit. I'm going to put on my tinfoil hat. Thank you, Bella, for putting that on. For them to be as bad as they were a week ago, just 1 week ago, and then a week later for how far ahead Max was relative to the rest of the pack, just seems fishy to me. This also comes the week where Red Bull could have won the Constructors Championship, which they did. So I think they were like, hey, we're going to kind of throw this in the bag the week before, get people as many eyes as back onto Formula One as possible to watch us win the Constructors Championship, to remind everyone how dominant they are, winning it with 6 races still to go. So pretty back-to-back Red Bull, my bad and my ugly. Not cool.
Yeah. What the hell, man?
What the frick?
Well, actually, your ugly leads into my good. My good is going to be corruption. A lot of news going on nowadays about corruption, rampant all around the world, of course, all the time. Donald Trump is on his 400th indictment. But let me tell you, Qatar have figured out how to perfect corruption better than anybody else. Somehow landed the World Cup. Nobody would have guessed that was even possible, given the temperature, the slave labor, all those details. And now they somehow finagled it to where Max Verstappen is going to win his 3rd drivers' championship in Qatar. So they're getting a big celebration again. I don't know for sure that they, acted in a corrupt manner. I'm just kind of going off vibes, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Big vibe guy.
Yeah, big corruption vibes coming out of Qatar. But you got to tip of the hat. They figured it out. They are just like, hey, we're going to throw a bunch of money. And again, this is if the rumors are true and the corruption is true. They said, we're just going to throw a bunch of money at Formula One and have our people get to celebrate again. So in 1 year, dude, World Cup, Max Verstappen, drivers champion in their backyard.
Unless they have Max blow up when everyone's supposed to be watching. Even bigger news for Qatar.
That's a win-win then.
Then they're going to be like, look, first of all, we love watching people die. That's kind of our thing. And 2, so many eyes on us.
Well,
I mean, we're going to bring it all around. You brought up the slave stuff, and they love putting people to rest.
They do. And like a siesta rest, like a
long, super long rest.
My bad. Logan Sargent. Nobody hates Valtteri Bottas. He's one of the guys that everybody likes Valtteri. Logan, we love you. We identify with you as American white gentlemen who are consistently underperforming.
Okay,
can't be hitting Valtteri Bottas. Can't be ruining his race. We got to be better than that. I know the bar isn't the highest, but we can't be doing that. It's mean. And people are going to hate you even more.
Yeah, I mean, he's just not doing himself any favors in the least.
At least he's American, and a lot of Formula One viewers really like Americans.
Oh, they're really diving into that. Comes out in the perfect time where we're just getting a ton of races in the US that makes them super happy. And then just quote unquote, the worst driver on the grid as well. It's just a concoction of fun for everyone else.
Yeah. My ugly is Alpine. Alpine are done. Any hope that they had, that they were grasping onto of making a late season push, hoping McLaren were just going to fall off a cliff, have a big downfall. Sorry, it's over. We're better than you. We know you're better that we're better than you. You know that we're better than you. That's a double podium, baby. Hey, Marco, quick pop quiz. Who are the only two teams in Formula One to have a double podium?
I'm going to go with Red Bull and I'm going to go with McLaren.
Why we keep you around at the Eden Nest.
Oh, dude, stat guy Marco over here.
So yeah, double podium. Only other team that's done that's Red Bull. Not a big deal, dude. As a team,
Dang.
best on the grid. Red Bull doesn't
Dude.
count. Best on the grid.
Well, I mean, I would like to say we are the only other team that has won a race. So look at us. Both of our teams are like Red Bull plus insert our team has done something.
You're winning
Not a lot of other teams.
You're winning like the mini drivers championship, and I'm winning the mini constructors championship. So between us,
Wow. We're the best. Dude, we're so fucking awesome.
we're losers.
We're second place, dude. Second place in a few different ways. All right. Great, good, bad, and ugly. Moving on to our gambling paddock. Unfortunately. Oh boy. Sorry to the fans who wrote us. Don't do that anymore. I'll get mine out of the way. Remember, I said I'd rather lose dignity and just not give up until my whole Lando not in the top 3 hits. I don't know if I financially agree with that decision anymore because I put 4 units minus 250. I was wrong. Past 2 weeks, the same bet lost 7 units. Not good. That's $140 that I just blew down the drain for being super stubborn. Also, non-max quals winner, 1 unit, didn't hit as well. So I lost 5 units this weekend thanks to Lando.
Hey, man. The bright side, next week, dude, it's probably going to be like
my plus 100.
Yeah, like good odds that he's not in the top.
If it's in the plus money I did, I might put like 10 units on it. I might go broke. I don't care, dude. This guy's gonna give up at some point. He's gonna stop making me lose so much money.
Yeah, we just text him, DM him, please, dude, stop.
Hey, dude, I'll give you half of my winnings.
Yeah, half of my imaginary winnings. I also lost all of my bets. We went 0 for 5 as a podcast. First time that's ever happened. Not a big deal. We usually don't get all of these wrong. Ferrari did not win quals. An odd number of cars finished the race, which this is the 3rd time that I've bet even or odd and the 3rd time that I've lost. So I guess next time,
just
like
bet the opposite of what you think is going to happen.
Yeah, dude, good call. Those coin flips can get tricky, but you got to all up here. And then Red Bull not to win qualifying. Didn't hit either. So looking back on this, I bet Ferrari to win quals and Red Bull to not win quals.
Yeah. It seems to be the case.
Why did you not stop me, I guess, is my question.
Why would I stop you? Seems like I was like, this guy's on it. He knows what's going on. He knows that Red Bull, I thought you were going to be like, he's positive. Ferrari's going to win, and he's going to double down on the back end of Red Bull not winning. And I was like, this guy's 2 steps ahead of me. He's doing 4D chess.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't, and we lost all of our bets. Marco down to 415, which ironically was my total last week. So we could have been on even ground.
Yeah, if you didn't bet at all. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm down to 365. So only $50 behind you.
Yeah, like I said, $140 comes from me thinking Lando, being super sure Lando is going to be not in the top 3. So
7 units, baby. Let's ride.
7 units. Wow. Awesome. That does it for our gambling paddock. Moving on to our race recap. Hopefully this one's a little bit better than our gambling paddock. All right, moving on to our quals, our Friday night, Saturday morning quals. I'm just going to spitball all these out of here because I did take a lot of notes. Sargent crashed in Q1, like we said, leading the Constructors Championship by like $1 million. This is the English Schumacher, I would say, in this situation, underperforming and crashing a bunch. 2 very big negatives that teams don't like in drivers. Stroll, again, not out in Q1, P17. Max absolutely dominating quals. A little tidbit as during quals, he had a steering wheel issue where the number in the top right showing his lap comparison to everyone else was not working. So he had no idea how his lap was doing compared to the rest of the grid. So kind of a half hand held behind his back, and he still was just dusting everyone, which is pretty tough. More stats on his dusting. Perez was, and Q2 was 0.4 seconds behind Max. Perez had brand new tires. Max had used ones. To have that difference and be almost half a second behind, not great. Something I thought was really weird. Gasly in Q2 had some bouncing in his cockpit, had to bring it in, have the team look at it. I don't know which commenter was talking about this, but he made a comment being like, oh, could be a giant spider. And then it went dead for a good 15 seconds. And then like he kind of came back later. It was like, just a heads up, people, it wasn't a giant spider. Well, I know it's late for me, but what is going on? It was the weirdest joke I think I've ever heard in Formula One right now. And I did not like it. It made me a little cringy. Lawson barely missed Q3. They used 3 new tires in Q1. And so everyone is saying if they didn't burn those 3, they would have been able to use a new one in Q2, which would have gotten him into Q3. So just not great management or strategy on the team's part. I thought my favorite part of quals, because there was not a lot of fun things about quals, was the Q3 lap breakdown following Max doing his hot lap was incredible. The commentary, kind of like the play-by-play on every single turn, kind of what he needs to do, was something that I don't think we really see that often, something that I think we need for them to do a lot more. Probably going to have to be following Max every time because he does the perfect lap every single time. But it was just stunning, very cool to see kind of like the mindset and just having them kind of talk through that entire lap. Largest pole gap since Michael Schumacher in 2004 with, I think, half a second. 0.7 second gap between Perez and Max. One commenter was saying like, that's really deflating. That's pretty tough. Like not a great look. The other one came back and was like, whoa. It's not about like us ripping on Perez. It's just about how amazing and perfect Max was. No, that is incorrect. Everyone says the driver that gets the most out of his car. Max is getting the most out of the car. Perez is getting not even close to the most out of his car. Perez is the problem. And then post-race interview, more talking about Max and his dominance. The interviewer was like, did you see how far the gap was to the guys around you? Max was like, oh, I just barely got out of the car. I haven't had time to look. He knew. And he was like, oh, it was a lot. And Max was like, all right, thanks. It's like, what do you want me to say?
There was a graphic of like the F1 posted on Instagram of like the checkered or like the finish line, Max finish, and where everyone else was, and they were all up, but like so far behind of where they were. So yeah, that was absurd. But yeah, congrats, Max. You're doing it back. He gave us enough of a little like blip of hope, being like, they fall off? Like, are they bad now?
Yeah. What happened?
Yeah, but they're back. So good job. All right, let's talk about our top 5 teams in the Constructors Championship, starting with our P5 McLaren. 33 points from the weekend, a monstrous haul for 172 points total for the season. Lando Norris P3 bumping up to P2. Oscar Piastri P2 going down to P3. Upgrades from Austria have made this car so fucking fast. Second and third quickest, depending on who you ask, depending on what race it is, honestly, between Ferrari and McLaren. Saw there was like a picture where Christian Horner was like whispering to Lando, and that caused all different rumors mills to go start churning around, and it's all bullshit, and everyone wants to scare you in, and I get it. But yeah, first of many podiums for Oscar. Not first for Lando. He's used to getting up there at this point. And yeah, double podium, like we said, man. Only other team, Marco. Where's the red team getting up there twice on the podium, huh?
Right, we just looked for number 1 on the podium. It could be one time this entire season, but we did it one time. Unlike your driver, that neither driver has ever won a race. Both of my drivers have.
Not yet, but you're not accounting for future race wins.
Dude, I could see what if just because they're about the same age, Max just cucks Lando for his entire career of getting any type of win ever.
That's actually a really sad.
He has like 1,000 points of like points, doubled the next person that hasn't won a win.
Yeah.
and just never gets it because Max is like, ooh, sorry.
That sucks in these individual sports like tennis, the people who just happen to start playing when like Rafa, Nadal, Federer, and Djokovic were there. It's like, all right, well, I'm just never gonna be like in the conversations. There's so
Battle
much.
for fourth. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, sad, but anyway, McLaren P5, big old gap to Alpine back in P6. I think, if I'm not mistaken, let me actually look it up real quick while I have it. I mean, I think we're like a little over double their points actually right now. So
Please.
suck it.
Good job. And moving on to our P4, McLaren's only 49 points behind Aston Martin and catching up very quickly. 221 points total, big 4 points in the weekend. So I think they beat last week at 0. So good for them. Fernando Alonso P10 up to P8. Lance Stroll P17 to DNF. I don't think we have to talk much about this. We are saying the same thing every week. Stroll is going to do his thing. Alonso, since basically Canada is going to do his thing, get points, just not a lot of points. So that's our analysis on Aston Martin.
We're doing a good job at making sure that we're staying strong on like not talking about Aston Martin too much. We're giving them the appropriate amount of talk time, I think.
We would be beating a dead Aston Martin.
P3 Ferrari, 20 points from the weekend, 285 points on the season. Carlos Sainz staying from P6 to P6. Charles Leclerc, P4 to P4. I mean, what can you say? Like it's like we said before, back and forth between Ferrari and McLaren. Pretty consistent drives. Not too much went wrong for him. Charles thought he was landing a podium after confusing Perez with Max, as you said, out on the track. Not an awesome weekend, but I think according to some reports, the hot conditions, track surface would have typically kind of ruined the degradation of the car, but it held up quite well. So that's kind of encouraging. I think that was also a Marco report, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, it did come from our boy Fred. But I mean, this is something that has been a Ferrari issue last year and the year before. The first part of this year is just in hot conditions on like heavy wear. Their tire degradation is terrible. They were pretty surprised and impressed with how well it held up. And I think they said they even were maybe a little too conservative on their tire management because of that worry. So I do think while they didn't show that speed like McLaren was showing, it did show promise being like, hey, on these more difficult, hotter tracks or like heavier impact tracks that we aren't going to just lose tires continuously throughout. So a little bit of light of shining hope, something like that.
Yeah, light of shining hope. Fastest 2 pit stops, by the way.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, so nice.
Right on. We're winners. All right. Moving on to P2, Mercedes. Also, Ferrari only 20 points behind Mercedes right now. So both of us, we're on the heels of some folks. 305 points, 16 points from the weekend. Lewis P7 to P5, George P8 to P7. These guys just love battling each other. It is just eventually going to lead into a crash. It just is a matter of time. The way they are driving, the way they are kind of like doing these back off little turn-ins to each other, it is going to get bad. It seems like there is a little bit of animosities going here. A lot of the Mercedes fans are being like, George doesn't understand the situation, get him out of here, which is crazy. People are also saying, saw a lot of stuff. Sainz and Lando are better teammates than these two, and they're not even on the same team. A little bit more explanation. I think like the main thing was like they were relatively fast, like kind of where they've been is that fourth team, I would say, over the past couple of weeks. Team asked Lewis to pass George for the DRS defense. So basically, this whole Carlos thing that he was basically defending by giving Lando DRS, other teams are like, hey, this is ingenious. We're going to start trying to use this as a strategy. Mercedes tried to do this. George was pretty pissed about it. Took a couple laps for him to actually like give in. The second Lewis passed him, went right out of DRS zone immediately. And I was like, dude, I'm out. See you, buddy. And they're like, hey, slow down. Please help your teammate. And then it was just a couple laps later. Carlos was basically like, they're using my trick against me. Passes. George was getting close to passing Lewis, but ended up just getting one of the Mercedes. But I don't know. I think Mercedes is kind of in this like limbo here of like, it doesn't seem like they have much to look forward to, or like big car improvements are kind of sticking, like I said, like the third, fourth quickest team. By doing so, Ferrari's at second, third, McLaren's at second, third team. They're going to start losing that's P2 spot.
Bang. Then congrats on P2.
Well, that's early. Six races, whole 6 races.
All right, we'll talk about Red Bull really fast. 26 points from this weekend, 623 points all season. Max Verstappen lights the flag victory. Sergio Perez P5 to a DNF. They are officially your 2023 Constructors champion. Max ridiculously faster than everybody else. You saw it in qualifying, and it was so much more just like developed and like well-rounded of a point in the race. And he was like, I'm just better than all of you guys here. Sergio, pile of garbage, ran into Lewis going into turn 1, passed Alonso under the safety car, got a penalty for that, ran into K-Mag after the restart to get another penalty, retired his car, unretired his car to serve a penalty due to a little loophole in the rules, went very slowly during the virtual safety car to confuse Norris as he came by to lap Red Bull. Just, bad. This is our first, I saw you mark it, our first douche of the day in a long time. Sergio.
Yeah, and I was like, if you're going to try to contend against this, there's no way. This guy was just ruining Red Bull's weekend. He was ruining every other team's weekend. Tough.
Yeah. And when they went to his camera cut when he was in his car so many times for like 10 laps, they were just like, okay, is he going to do it? Is he? All right. He's going to wait a little bit. And then they kept going back. I'm like, show the race. I don't care about a retired car. But
that was a huge talking point after is, can you unretire a car? Which they did. Obviously, this is like the whole loophole thing, because they're saying he did not serve that 5-second penalty. And if he didn't serve it, that he would be grid spots in later penalties. But if you retire a car, I guess that Michael Jordan, he can do it. I guess others can do it. You can come out of retirement. Brett Favre, Wiener, come out of retirement.
All right. That's enough of a race recap on that race. We have Qatar next. Well, we'll do a race recap, or a Grand Preview for Qatar next week, I guess. No twofers, baby.
No twofers, dude. Yeah. It feels kind of long still. But hey,
it's still kind of
long. Sorry again.
All right, let's get to our race predictions recap and send everybody off. All right, coming into this weekend, it was a 28-18 race. I got Sergio Perez as a crash DNF. Almost not a crash DNF after he DNF'd. So would you have given me that point for like retiring the car and unretiring the car?
If he finished the race, no, we would have to remove that. I'm sorry.
I don't think I would have given it to you either. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, like, he unretired, then re-retired. So yes, but if he unretired and stayed unretired, that doesn't show up in the Formula One rule book as him being retired. So, yeah. I got Max winner, Max fastest lap, and like we said, Perez douche of the day. Bummer that a third of the grid crashed or DNF, and I missed out on that. But like we said, score is 31-19, 6 races to go, plenty of time to make that catch up.
Easy. And that's everything. So quick episode, maybe. I don't think so.
Quicker
than if you imagine this one being a long one. That.
My lord,
Bella would quit.
I would quit.
All right, everybody. That was our recap of the Japan Grand Prix. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We will see you next week for a Grand Preview of the Qatar Grand Prix.
Qatar.
See ya.
We got to figure out how to pronounce that, actually.
It's Qatar, dude. It's Qatar.
Qatar. See ya, assholes.
See ya, assholes.
Hey, thought you could leave without saying goodbye.
I used to say I lived my life a quarter mile at a time. And I think that's why we were brothers. Because you did too.